Do you know how many days there are till Christmas? Or do you know how many days there are till your fall launch or some big event coming up on your church's calendar? Well, in this Word Made Digital tutorial, we're talking about how to make those big events special and memorable, and it's never too early to start planning. Hello my friends, welcome to Word Made Digital Tutorials. My name is Joanna LaFleur, and in this tutorial we're talking about creative ideas for how to make those special events in your church really memorable. So a huge shout out to the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities, or 4Cs as you may know them, for making this tutorial possible. A little bit more about them later, but of course the link to who they are is down in the show notes. All right, how to make these events memorable if you're planning it in advance. The first thing I want to remind you is to go all out. If you've watched our scope video where we talk about scope A, scope B, scope C, it's this idea of having a strategy for what kind of resources and airtime and channels that get available to the ministry or program that you're offering. And so each has a scope. And in scope A projects, they're all out projects. That is projects that the whole church community and our friends can and should participate in. So in a scope A, we want to go all out. We're talking about posters and Facebook promo, and maybe we want to do it on Instagram and Instagram stories and Instagram Reels or TikTok or YouTube or whatever you're using. But then beyond that, maybe we want to think about signs on the lawn. We want to think about, in some cases for a special event, having a special event website or URL like christmas@yourchurchname.com or spring fair in your town or whatever it is called. And then that link can go to a special page on your website. It's a memorable link. It can go to a special page on your website that has all the information, all the details about how someone can get involved or invite someone else quickly to the event. Go all out. Whatever resources you can think might be available, give them to this kind of an event. The next thing you want to do to make these kinds of special events memorable is to think about who's going to be in the room. For example, if you're going to have a lot of kids, all ages in the room, then you probably want to think about a service length or an event length or an event time of day that's really friendly to the ages and groups that are going to be in the room. Or if you're doing something that you expect a lot of newcomers at, then people who've maybe never been to church, then you want to make sure that if there's Christian language, it doesn't mean you can't use your Christianese, but you should explain your Christianese. So if you have something that you call the Eucharist or the communion table, and you're going to do that at the event, then just explain it to people. Or if you're inviting people to go to the fellowship hall afterwards to go participate in the activities, they may not know where it is unless you are more articulate about how to explain how to get to that place in your building. Think of who's in the audience and curate the event around them, not because it's all about them, but because we want to serve people as best we can, especially children and newcomers. Jesus is so clear about those who are seeking Him. We should be like children, and those who are seeking Him get His priority and get His time. So we want to make sure that we do the same. Another creative way in how to make a special event memorable is to establish tradition. So maybe at Christmas, you already have a tradition of lighting candles and singing Silent Night, or maybe if it's the launch Sunday in the fall as everyone comes back after the summer to sign up for programs, you want to have cotton candy. It doesn't have to be a huge and costly thing, but something that can be tangible and creative. You know, maybe on Easter Sunday you have, or Mother's Day, or whatever it may be, if it's a big event for you, you want to have a special photo booth area, something that people can get involved in, can remember about the experience. If we're looking for wondering how they might remember the experience, let's think about all the senses. Sight and taste and sound and smell and touch. I think I've got them all there. We want to think about how we can engage more of the senses. So the candle lighting is this very tactile, physical act. Of course, cotton candy, or a special tradition of a snack like a popcorn or a cotton candy or a cookie on a certain day that we do every single year for that event, brings a tactile memory to us, a sensory memory to us. The same with the photo booth. It's just another way for people to get involved. Maybe you can have little signs or chalkboard people can write a decision they've made on the chalkboard and hold it up. There's ways to get involved in that on a baptism day or an Easter day or whatever that may be. There's lots of ways to think about how to make a tradition even more meaningful by adding more tradition to the special event. My next tip is to prepare the room, whether that room be in person or online, whether that is inside or outside, if it's in a huge gymnasium or a movie theater, or it's a traditional sanctuary. There are ways to prepare the room. Now, if it's Christmas, for example, you don't need to go all Buddy the Elf. If you know the Elf movie, you don't need to go that far. But think of a few things that you can add to make the event, make the season special and memorable, and translate that as well. If you do a live stream, make sure that you can translate that there. But more so, I encourage you to think outside of the room where you gather to the experience that starts right when they come onto your property. So for example, if it's Christmas Eve, can you have twinkly lights down the driveway into the entrance of your building? Can you have greeters out there warmly smiling and holding a, we're so glad you're back sign or whatever it may be? Can you do something like sidewalk chalk to welcome people with friendly greetings into the building? There's all kinds of ways that you can integrate an experience of the season or of the event that you're making memorable for people in creative ways that start long before they even start the event itself. The last way you can make a special event more special or more memorable is something that we often forget, and that word is follow up. Whether that's handwritten notes to say thank you to the volunteers about how much they contributed to making that event or that special program possible, or it's a way that you follow up and call and send a gift or thank you to newcomers who came. You check to see if they might come again. Whatever it may be that is in the processes of your church, make sure there is a process to follow up and to say thank you. There's nothing like a simple handwritten card to go a long way to say that you are seen and you are heard and you are appreciated, especially for your key volunteers and your newcomers. They will really appreciate it and it'll be so memorable. So thank you so much for checking out these things. Before we go, I want to just give a quick shout out again to the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities who are making this video possible. For nearly 50 years, they've been serving charities in Canada and they've been partnering alongside trying to help charities be successful through common goals. They support charities with operational areas and things like if you have questions about the CRA and donation slips, or maybe you want to talk about board governance, there's all kinds of things that they can support and help you with. You don't have to be an expert at everything in the church. That's why 4Cs is there to come alongside and support you. Now, membership is actually surprisingly affordable. If you haven't checked it out recently, I want you to go to cccc.org for more information on all the resources, the tools, the training, and the experts that are just a phone call or an email away for the members of 4Cs. So go to cccc.org. As I said, thank you so much for checking out this Word Made Digital tutorial. What are some ways that you make special events special? How do you make events creative and memorable in your community? We'd love to learn from you, so leave a note down in the comments so we can learn together. See you on the next tutorial.